What's up, everybody? For the battles here, and I'm going to talk to you just a short video about how to play the Ninetales versus Ninetales mirror. Now, I went over like one strategy I kind of was working with in the last video I had. It involved if you were both racing to the charge move and you get your charge move off first, and then they block, and then they're forced to throw their own because they are racing to it as well. You can choose not to block, and then you'll be up to shields. You can go in and farm. That was one way to play it, and that was a way I was playing it kind of based on the assumption that my opponent would throw a charge. Part of this is going to be reading your opponent, because there's definitely a few ways to play it. I found that a couple of the people I'm playing I consider a couple of the really good players I'm playing, they just never throw a charge. And so when you go into this Ninetales mirror and you throw a charge, you lose a charm. Every time you throw a charge move in this game, you lose a fast move. And a lot of times that doesn't really matter. A lot of fast moves are not so high damaging as charm. And slow charging. But with Ninetales, charm is basically going to be most of the damage you're doing. And when you lose a charm, it can change the whole match, especially with the mirror, because you're only going to reach one charge move realistically with the mirror, and you don't necessarily need to throw it to win, especially if the other Ninetales doesn't throw a charge move. So we're just going to go over a couple ways to play this mirror. And it's going to depend on the rest of your team. It's going to depend on how you read your opponent, and then you're not going to know exactly how to play, but this will just give you a way to plan depending on who you play and how you set up the rest of your team and how important shields are to you later. So we're just going to come into the straight up mirror. Neither Ninetales throws a charge. I consider this to be the safest option, especially if I have an Umbreon in the back and I know this Ninetales is going to be off the field. Then just kind of going in for the luck of the draw after this mirror. Neither throws a charge. You're gonna tie out. Both have the same amount of shields. I consider this to be the safest option, and what I notice a lot of the who I consider the best players play this mirror out. Now, why this is safer is what we touched on earlier. If you go into this match and you throw a charge, you're automatically going to lose a charm. If the other Ninetales blocks and you are down that charm, they're going to be able to just charm you down, and then they will have an entire charge left over to go into the next Pokemon. So that's like two advantages for them. They will see your Pokemon first, and they will be able to throw a charge on it. So that's why I consider not throwing a charge at all to actually be maybe the safest way to play this, because once you've thrown your charm and you see that they haven't, your Ninetales is going to be done. You don't have an option. You have lost the lead in essence, and then they will have a charge. Now, if they had thrown their charge after you charge yours, and they had blocked yours previously and you had saved yours, that is another way to play this. That is a possible way to give you an advantage out of throwing a charge, but it kind of relies on the assumption that your opponent will also throw a charge. All right, now talking earlier about reading your opponent. Now, sometimes you're gonna know that somebody is new, maybe inexperienced, or you can just honestly, sometimes you could just see it in them that they're going to be racing to that charge move. If you strongly believe that your opponent is going to hit that charge move, and then you can hit yours first, an option that I have been doing, I've done a few times, is hit my charge move and then not block theirs, and then with the assumption that they will block mine, and then they will be down a shield. I will still be up 2, and that I will lose the lead purposefully, in that I will not shield their charge, and then I will go into my next Pokemon and have the opportunity to get some energy and be at both shields. If they had thrown first and I was down a shield, this wouldn't be that optimal. It really only is much of an advantage if you are able to throw first and you strongly believe your opponent will also charge, because just that's how a lot of people play it, or you think that they're going to be forced to throw because you're both racing to the charge move. You're able to go in with both shields and then get some energy on the next Pokemon. But it's really going to be about reading your opponent. Again, I think the safest way to play this is to just not throw one at all, because then you're going to be rolling the dice on then throwing one and you having the opportunity to block it and then go in and charm down that Ninetales and have a charge for the next Pokemon. Or you can choose to not block it, and then you can go into that next Pokemon with some energy. There's a couple ways to play it. Again, I just think it's safest not to throw a charge, but it's gonna be depending on the rest of your team. It's gonna be depending on your opponent. If I've got an Umbreon in the back and that Ninetales is off the field and I have shields, that opens up a lot of possibilities. And so I just wanted to do a quick little video showing a couple of the different ways to play this, because I think a lot of people weren't aware that when you do throw a charge move, you lose a charm, and charm is huge for Ninetales. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Good luck in your tournaments. Thanks all.